What is up, you guys? This is Jan, and we are back with season 1, episode 5 of my Sickle Cell Life podcast. And today, on episode 5, in honor of May being Mental Health Awareness Month, we are talking about mental health and sickle cell in this podcast episode. So let's get right into it. Again, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm going to read how Mental Health Awareness Month started out in May and how it originated. Okay, and so my source is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which is NAMI.org. Okay. Okay. So again, my source is coming from the National Alliance of Mental Illness. That is www.nami.org. Okay. And it reads Mental Health Awareness Month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Since its inception in 1949, Mental Health Awareness Month has been a cornerstone of addressing the challenges faced by millions of Americans living with mental health conditions. Throughout the month, NAMI actively participates in a national movement dedicated to eradicating stigma, extending support, fostering public education, and advocating for policies that prioritize the well-being of individuals and families affected by mental illness. Okay, and so says this year NAMI is celebrating Mental Health Awareness Month with the Take the Moment campaign. We encourage you to join us in fostering open dialogues, cultivating empathy and understanding. We also urge you to share our resources to support individuals and families on their journey towards mental wellness. Through Take the Moment, we shine a spotlight on NAMI's array of signature programs, including NAMI Basics, NAMI Family to Family, NAMI Family and Friends, NAMI Homefront, NAMI In Our Own Voice, NAMI Peer to Peer, NAMI Support Groups, and our invaluable NAMI Health Line, which is free nationwide peer support service providing information, resources, referrals, and support to people living with a mental health condition, their family members, and caregivers, mental health providers, and the public. This campaign also champions the importance of destigmatizing mental health by normalizing the practice of taking moments to prioritize mental health care without guilt or shame. Okay? So basically, the uh, movement that NAMI seeks to enact with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, I also am a champion for, because I myself am a certified peer support specialist. Okay, I was certified in North Carolina. Um, and so if you, as a sickle cell warrior, or as a disabled person, or even as a regular person, a normally healthy person, if you feel like you are having any sort of mental health issues, please do not hesitate to reach out for help. Okay? If you do not know where to reach out to, you can reach out to me first. Okay? You can reach out to me first, and you can let me know what's going on. The best way to contact me would be through email, or you can message me on my Sickle Cell Life podcast Facebook page. But the email address is sicklecelllife365@gmail.com. That is SICKLECELLLIFE 365@gmail.com. Okay, that is sicklecelllife365@gmail.com. Please, in the subject, just let me know that you are seeking support for mental health issues that you or someone you know may be facing. Okay. And I will point you in the right direction. Okay. Because this is the services that I used to provide when I was working with a company called CCPGM, which was Community Care Partners of Greater Mecklenburg. And that was when I lived back in Charlotte in my hometown. Okay, so I'm not a stranger to peer support matters. I'm not a stranger to mental health situations. I'm not a stranger to finding resources for persons dealing with mental illness, or other physical ailments. So I basically all around am here to help. I'm here to help. I want to push everyone forward, but especially the sickle cell community. And so I want to get into how your mental health directly affects your physical health, and especially with having sickle cell. I'm going to basically break down how mental health and sickle cell crisis are interwoven, and how you can control that. You are in charge of your mental health. No one else is in charge of it. It's your job to reach out for help when you feel like you are drowning. Okay. So if you feel like you are spiraling or you are drowning, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I want to specify that and reiterate that multiple times, because I really do want people to know that they are safe and this is a safe space, and that this is a judgment free zone. Okay. A judgment free zone. So I also would like to do some check ins. Okay. So, if you are having a bad mental health day, um, wherever you are viewing or listening to this podcast from, in the comments, let me know how you're doing. If you put a black heart, that means you're not doing so good. If you put a purple heart, that means that you are on your way out of a depressive episode. If you put a pink heart, that means that you're doing pretty good. If you put a red heart, that means that you're doing very well. And if you put a pink heart with the little sparkles on it, then that means that you are having a great mental health day and you are in good spirits. Okay, so I just want to check everybody's temperature and make sure that we're all on the same page. And if we're not, we can figure out how we can get you to the same page. We can get you on the page where your mental health is priority and where you're in good standing. Okay, so let me know how you're doing in the comments. Okay, I really, really do want to engage with my audience and just kind of gauge where everybody is with how they're feeling as far as mentally. Okay. Okay. So now I am going to talk about how mental health and sickle cell um, are greatly linked to one another. And I'm reading from this article on um, the medicalnewstoday.com website. Okay. And so this article is How Can Sickle Cell Disease Affect Mental Health? Sickle cell disease, SCD, is the umbrella term for a group of conditions that affect the hemoglobin in blood. It causes pain and ongoing health concerns. Some people with SCD may experience mental health symptoms as a result of living with their condition. SCD affects 100,000 people in the United States and is most common in people of African or Mediterranean descent. It is a lifelong inherited condition in which a person's red blood cells are sickle shaped, causing problems such as blocked blood vessels. SCD can cause acute and chronic pain, infection, stroke, and other medical issues. Living with the condition can be physically, emotionally, and socially challenging. As a result, many people with SCD find that it affects their mental health. This article looks in more detail at how SCD affects mental health. It also explains the role of sleep and how a person can find support. Okay. And so I can vouch for this article. Okay. And I can vouch for um, this article that sickle cell affects you on every level, and it is very, very complicated to live the life of a sickle cell warrior. Okay, my life is very, very much a struggle from day to day. My mental health is very much a struggle from day to day as well. I have my good days, I have my bad days. Um, the only thing that keeps me up in spirits at this point in time is my children and wanting to be here for them, because to me otherwise it's not worth it. It's all the suffering that I endure is not worth being here. And so God knew that I needed my children because he knew that I wasn't going to be able to withstand this disease without them. Like, I did good when I was young, but that's because I felt semi normal when I was young. I didn't feel too out of place even when I was getting admitted into the hospital. I still felt somewhat like a normal person. And it really hit me like a ton of bricks as I age how much I'm not a normal person and never will be until there's a legitimate cure for sickle cell. I uh yeah, it will be a hard fight. I will live with this. It's very hard to live with it, I must admit. Okay, so let's continue on reading the article. SCD can lead to various health complications. Acute episodes of pain, known as crises, can happen without warning. They occur when sickled red blood cells block small blood vessels, resulting in a lack of oxygen to surrounding tissues and tissue damage or death. People with SCD must stay vigilant to warning signs that could signal a health threat. They also have to make lifestyle choices that minimize the risk of adverse health events. Being on high alert in this way can be draining and may lead to stress, anxiety, and depression. The medical costs associated with living with SCD can also be can also contribute to stress. A 2022 study involving people aged 64 years and under with health insurance found that individuals with SCD pay almost 4 times more in out of pocket medical costs over their lifetime than those without the condition. According to a 2018 study, stigma surrounds SCD, which exists for various reasons, as SCD in certain is more prevalent in certain ethnic groups than others. Racism may play a role in stigmatizing people with SCD. Other factors that may contribute to stigmatization are having a condition with disease in its name, experiencing delayed growth in puberty, taking opioids to manage pain, and socioeconomic status. Okay. Feeling stigmatized can adversely affect a person's mental health. Yes, it can. It definitely can. And that is one thing that I fight to do, is to remove the stigma of sickle cell, and especially around narcotic pain medicine. The stigma that uh, goes hand in hand with the use of narcotic pain medicine is atrocious. And I mean, we should really, really be ashamed of ourselves, because our medical professionals are literally shaming people, on their patients on TikTok, for using opioid pain medication, and they get labeled as a drug seeker. And when you have sickle cell disease and you're a black person, you're going to get labeled as a drug seeker even though you have a legitimate disease, you know? And so it is very, very much an adverse mental, health effect that stigma has on us as patients. It's really disgusting. And this is why I have to address these things head on in my podcast. This is why I am trying so hard to change things, because the stigma that lies in and around pain medication and narcotics and sickle cell patients, it is ridiculous. And somebody has to ring the alarm and say, this has to stop. We cannot continue to say that we're caring for our patients and we continue to put them down because they need opioid pain medication to cope with their pain. Like, it's really ridiculous. And sometimes the medical professionals don't even realize when they themselves are making the person's situation, especially their mental health, like they don't even realize when they're not helping, they're making it worse. Like, if you're my medical professional and I constantly have to fight with you about my pain medicine and things like that, you're going to cause me to be depressed, because I'm going to feel like it's always a struggle to get my needs met. And so some of these healthcare providers don't even realize when they're no longer being helpful, and when they're actually being destructive, and when they're actually enabling and causing the depression in a patient. And it very much does happen, because I know so many sickle cell warriors with the same story of medical neglect and abuse from our healthcare professionals. The very people that took an oath to first do no harm. Like, you guys took an oath to care for people in need, but it has to be the right type of patient in order for you to care. And that, in and around itself, is ridiculous. And we are in 2024, and this is still going on to this day. There is still a preferred patient over a non-preferred patient. And sickle cell disease is a non-preferred disease and patient group. Nobody desires to help the sickle cell warriors as much as they desire to help all of these other ailments. You know, it is so ridiculous. But anyway, let's keep reading. Okay, sickle cell disease and depression. Research has found a link between SCD and depression. A 2019 study reports that out of 73,225 people hospitalized with SCD, 8.6% have also had depression. Depression was more common among adults aged 35 to 50 years and more likely to affect females than males. Although most people in the study were Black, white people were more likely to have depression. The study authors note that people with SCD and comorbid depression may experience worse health and require longer stays in the hospital as a result. They incur higher medical costs. A 2017 study supports this finding that people with SCD and depression incurred more than double the medical cost of those without depression. And see, that is crazy. Do you think that a depressed person needs more medical debt, just to top off their depression? Let's just, make your day nice and right by topping you off with some more medical debt because you're depressed. So it's like not only are you depressed, but you're in debt because of your depression. Like you can't win for losing. Literally. And we, the sickle cell warriors, bear the brunt of that. We bear the brunt of that cost. They will milk the hell out of your insurance, especially if you're duly enrolled. If you have Medicare and Medicaid, man, they are going to milk every single cent out of you and still want you to pay a bill on top of the insurance that they milked. That be the crazy part for me is like after you've charged the insurance all of this stuff, you still want me to pay you more money. Like it's outrageous, and this is why our life expectancy rate hasn't gone up very much, because our healthcare system refuses to be about healthcare, and it's only about monetization. That's it. What can you monetize? It's not about curing anyone. It's not about helping anyone. It's not about anything. It's about making a buck and making sure that that patient comes back so you can keep milking their insurance. Like it's a vicious cycle that needs to stop. It's not okay. Sickle cell disease and anxiety. Depression and anxiety often coexist. For people with SCD, concerns about their health, a fear of becoming ill or dying, and many other worries can all contribute to anxiety. According to a 2016 article, anxiety and depression can lead to worse pain, which can affect daily physical, social, and emotional functioning. A 2020 study found that a lack of screening of psychological mood and anxiety disorders among adults with SCD could result in psychological problems going unrecognized and untreated. Okay. And so that was the article. Thank you to medicalnewstoday.com for that article about sickle cell disease and mental health. And again, I just want to reiterate that your mental health is very much connected to your physical health. And if you have sickle cell disease, you have to know that they live hand in hand, and you have to manage them hand in hand. And I speak to myself as well, because I don't continuously stay in therapy the way that I should. And so I have to prioritize my mental health as well. And so I'm speaking to everyone, myself included, when I say this. We all have to prioritize ourselves sometimes in life. It's okay. You don't have to feel guilty for doing something for yourself for once. And especially when health is wealth. Okay? If you have your health, you are wealthy. You have all that you need. You are able bodied. So please take care of yourselves. Please take care of your mental health. Please reach out if you feel like you need mental health services, and I can definitely direct you in the right place. Again, you can email me, or you can message me on my Sickle Cell Life podcast, my Sickle Cell Life podcast Facebook page, or the email address sicklecelllife365@gmail.com. Okay. Now we have reached the segment in the show called Spotlight on the Sickle Cell Warrior Community. And today we are spotlighting Lydia Denise Langford. She is a fallen sickle cell warrior, and she was known and loved by so many in the sickle cell community, and she was a big advocate for the sickle cell disease community. Lydia Denise Langford was born in Birmingham, Alabama on July 2nd, 1982 to Valerie Antoinette Smith of Gary, Indiana. She attended New Pilgrim Daycare, Epic Elementary School, Putnam Middle School, Minor High School, and graduated from the University of Montevallo. Lydia was a member of Faith Chapel Christian Center. At an early age, she was the poster child for Birmingham Sickle Cell Foundation. Daughter of the King, sickle cell spokeswoman, advocate, and councilwoman. Lydia was an active participant on social media. She currently has a blog on Facebook called Made by Hope, and it represents her life as a sickle cell warrior. She had a host of followers who were also sickle cell warriors, along with other friends who followed her story on social media. Lydia Denise Langford leaves behind to cherish her memory her mother, Valerie Antoinette Smith, stepfather, Andre Byron Williams, her dog, Honeybun Langford, mom's dog, Phoebe Smith, step-grandmother, Lena Flo Smith of Gary, Indiana, aunt, Deborah Smith of Indianapolis, Indiana, and Sharon Lynn Smith of Israel, cousins, Lynetta Cannon, Laquita Goss, James Nash, Mark Smith, and Micaiah Davis, and best friend Rebecca Parr of Birmingham, Alabama. So this is who we are spotlighting today. She is very, very much worthy of a spotlight. She was a great advocate in the sickle cell community, and I can just let her tell you herself about her sickle cell disease life.
Just recently turned 35, and if I had to guess or put a number to the amount of blood transfusions I've had in my lifetime, I'd say around 500 blood transfusions. My name is Lydia Mays. I am from Birmingham, Alabama. I was diagnosed with sickle cell when I was 2 months old. My mom said that I did this scream that was completely unnatural and unheard of. And I've heard that the screams of an infant during a sickle cell crisis are just screams that nobody is prepared at all to hear. My mom said it was just next level and she knew that something was really, really wrong. So she took me to the hospital, and that's when I was diagnosed with sickle cell SS. I am the only person in my family with sickle cell, which is very, very strange because sickle cell anemia is a genetic disease, meaning it's passed down from parent to child. Um, I'm the only person in my family that is SS. My mother has the trait for sickle cell, and my father has the trait for sickle cell. And although the chances are very, very slim that two people with the trait can produce a child that is full SS, that's what happened in my case. And that's how I wound up with the disease, and I'm the only person with it. A sickle cell crisis is when your blood cells start to go on the offense. They're going to start attacking your own blood cells, and what happens is the blood starts attacking the blood dies, and that is it's called hemolysis, but that's also what is increasing your anemia, which is why I have to have so many blood transfusions. So the blood's attacking itself, it's killing itself. The blood also attacks and kills and destroys bones, organs, tissues, sorts of things like that. And when it's doing that, and when the blood is in crisis mode and it's on the attack, you can feel it. My very first crisis was in both of my feet, and it started out feeling like a little cramp at first. I thought that I pulled a muscle when I was working out. And in about 20 minutes, it went from a cramp to a throbbing to a stabbing to it felt like my feet were on a railroad track and a train was just going over them. And then it stopped and went in reverse and then went right back over. And it's every second, it just doesn't stop. During my first crisis, I asked the emergency room doctor if they were going to have to amputate my feet. And he started laughing and he's like, "No, sweetie, why would you think that?" And I told him, "Because I want you to." Then he started crying. I started crying. It was a big cry fest in the emergency room, but I was very, very serious. And I hope that illustrates just a little bit just how much pain it is. That was just in my feet. This last crisis that I had, and crises that some people with sickle cell have, it's all over their entire body. The only thing that can prevent a crisis or bring a person out of a crisis is blood donation, is fluids, and is oxygen. And that is why blood is so, so important to someone with sickle cell. The first time I had a blood transfusion, it was really, really interesting. I was in the hospital for 6 days for a sickle cell crisis. My blood count started going down and down and down. And when you have sickle cell anemia, you're already anemic, so there's already a need for blood. But when you're in a sickle cell crisis, that increases that need for blood donation. I was in crisis for 7 days total. I received 4 blood transfusions. And when your blood count starts going down, you start to feel more lethargic, more tired, more not like yourself. Like you do not want to do anything. None of the things that interest you really have a meaning anymore because you're just so tired. You really cannot do anything. Walking becomes a struggle, talking becomes a struggle, even holding a fork to feed yourself becomes a struggle. That's what it feels like before the blood transfusion. And when I first got my first blood transfusion and I started to get the blood and it's being infused into me, I broke out and I started doing the MC Hammer dance. I felt so good. I was like, yeah, I can do this. And I just started dancing around the hospital. And then I realized, like, well, we're only like maybe a couple minutes into this blood transfusion. And then it hit me. My mom's like, you need to sit down before you pass out. So immediately it is a rush of energy. You just start to feel more like yourself. And for me, when I'm myself, I am bouncing all over the place and singing and dancing and all of that. So it just made me want to do the things that I love to do, just be all over the place and be happy and dance all around. So it's important for the African American community to give blood because it is how you're matched. You're going to be matched similarly. So, me being African American, I have a better chance at getting somebody's blood that's African American than Caucasian, and vice versa. If someone were Caucasian, they'd have a better chance of receiving Caucasian bloods without any reactions or without any complications. Whereas if you're receiving something across or that's from a different race, you do wind up with an increased risk of complication. It is not exclusive to the African American community. However, it does affect primarily people with brown skin. That's African Americans, Hispanics, people of any sort of sub-Saharan sort of environment. I've heard that in the Philippines, sickle cell is very prevalent, and I actually had a Filipino nurse. She told me that I should be really, really thankful because in the Philippines, their technology is not like it is here in the United States. And most people with SS, sickle cell anemia SS, they end up passing away about 14 or 15 just because they don't have access to the blood and the things that we often take for granted here in America. I used to work for Life South, and when I worked there, everyone was incredible. They, of course, I'm very vocal about sickle cell. I advocate for sickle cell, and I ultimately want a cure for sickle cell. But that all starts with awareness, and blood is, like I said, it's so important. So I saw an ad for Life South online. I applied, I got the job, and I started incorporating my story with sickle cell in recruiting people for blood donation. If I saw you on the street, I'd say, hey, you want to donate blood? It's going to save my life. And most people, because sickle cell is an invisible illness and I look perfectly fine, they'd be like, how am I gonna save her life? She looks fine to me. She looks perfectly healthy. Well, let me tell you about sickle cell anemia and how many blood transfusions I need. And I never had anyone turn me down. And even when I stopped working for Life South for a paycheck, Life South's always going to be a part of my heart because you all do something that's so important and you give me life. And I said I wasn't going to cry, but but it really means so much. And without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So if you are on the fence about donating blood and you need a reason to donate blood, you can look at me. If you need an inspiration, if you need a cause or a reason to donate blood, just look at my life. My name's Lydia. I have sickle cell, and I'm known as a sickle cell warrior princess. I've had so many blood transfusions in my life, and without you guys, without people that are able to donate blood, I would not be alive today. So I just want to thank you for just even thinking and considering blood donation. It's good for you as a person. It's good for people with sickle cell and people that have been in emergencies. It's an incredible gift to give. It's the gift of life, and there really is no better gift. So please consider donating today to Life South.
Okay. And so she has a very important story, and I want to continue to champion her and continue to push her story forward, her and get more awareness out there and continue the work, the important work that we have to do in the sickle cell community. Now we are going to talk about the latest sickle cell news. And so our news today is coming from webmd.com, and it was posted 4 days ago, so this is the latest. The FDA has approved a new sickle cell treatment, and a 12-year-old is going to be the first to receive the treatment outside of the clinical trials. So let's read. A 12-year-old is first to start new sickle cell treatment. May 6, 2024, 12-year-old Cedric Cromer's sickle cell disease has wreaked havoc on his young body, including causing a painful condition known as bone death in his hips, backs, and shoulders. Last week, he became the first patient outside of a clinical trial to start a new genetic treatment that was shown in clinical trials to cure 88% of people of the hallmark symptoms of sickle cell disease, which is a genetic condition that can affect blood flow. The CDC estimates 100,000 people in the U.S. have sickle cell, and it's more common among Black people. About 1 in every 365 Black newborns in the U.S. have it. Okay. The FDA approved the new therapy called Lyfgenia in December. Until then, the only options for people with sickle cell were treatments to manage symptoms or donor stem cell transplants that can carry serious risks. The month-long treatment process for Cromer began with the collection of bone marrow stem cells at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. According to the New York Times and an announcement by Bluebird Bio, the company that developed the treatment. We are thrilled to be the first center in the country to commercially collect cells from a person living with sickle cell disease and are proud to be the trailblazers in using this new approach. David Jacobson, MD, Chief of the Division of Blood and Marrow Transplantation at Children's National Hospital, said in a statement, "The recent approval of gene therapies to treat patients with sickle cell is an enormous breakthrough in patient care and a silver lining to families witnessing their children struggling with this condition. In the face of immense burden, gene therapy is a groundbreaking treatment alternative and a beacon of hope for a better future." Okay. Bluebird's price tag for Lyfgenia therapy is $3.1 million, making it one of the most expensive medical treatments of all time. The Times reported, adding that Bluebird's current annual capacity is to treat the cells of between 85 and 105 patients. There are currently waiting lists of people seeking the life-changing treatment. Once enough stem cells are collected from a patient, they are sent to Bluebird's lab in New Jersey and modified to function like those of people not affected by sickle cell. Cromer will have chemotherapy before the modified stem cells are transplanted. The process does not cure sickle cell itself. Instead, newly modified genes instruct the body to produce more of a type of red blood cell protein that can counteract the effects of mutated proteins that result in red blood cells taking a C shape, hence the name sickle cell. Sickle-shaped red blood cells restrict blood flow and limit oxygen delivery, but the new treatment helps the body produce enough non-mutated red blood cell proteins to keep red blood cells from forming the sickle shape. So that is the pricey treatment that they are calling a cure, or were calling a cure, but we have found out that it does not cure you. It simply puts you into sickle cell trait status. But that is the latest. There's a 12-year-old boy that is going to do the treatment. And so I pray that he has a very, very successful treatment and that he comes out stronger than ever. He deserves to have a real shot at life, a normal life. And if this therapy gives it to him, then God bless them. And I pray that everything goes well. So, we are at the segment where we're going to take a moment of silence for all of the fallen sickle cell warriors and all of the warriors that are struggling with a sickle cell crisis in or out of the hospital. I'm going to take a 10-second pause for a moment of silence for our sickle cell warriors that have passed. And then I'm going to say a prayer and we will end the podcast. Okay, so the moment of silence is starting now. Okay, and now I'm going to pray. Heavenly Father, I come to you humbly asking that you please wrap your arms around any warrior that is struggling today, any warrior that's struggling at home, any warrior that is struggling in the hospital, any warrior currently en route to the hospital or from the hospital. Lord, please cover them and heal their bodies, Lord, and make them stronger than ever, Lord. I know that your will be done, and the last will be first one day, and the first will be last. I believe in that. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this life. Thank you for this podcast and the ability to express myself and tell the stories of sickle cell warriors. I want to thank you for that strength, and please continue to guide me in the right direction with my podcast. Thank you so much. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. And all those that agree, please say amen. Okay. Well, if you've stuck it out with me through this entire episode, I want to thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. And please, 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 if you are not already, please follow my podcast on Spotify. Okay. And please also make sure that you are following the Sickle Cell Life Facebook page. Okay. And any and all support is greatly appreciated. Thank you for every like, every share, every comment, every view, everything. Thank you, because without you guys, I cannot do this. Thank you for pushing me and enabling me to do something for myself and for other sickle cell warriors like me. It is an honor. It truly is. Um, Again, thank you for making it this far into the podcast. I again appreciate your support. And love you guys, and I will see you in the next podcast episode. Deuces.